In this video, we will discuss about internal structure of secondary growth of root of Pinus. How does secondary growth take place? Now, when plant is germinating in the young seedling, taproot system is there, and this will show primary growth. This we have discussed in the previous video. Now, when this primary growth increases in diameter, this isodiametric growth is called as secondary growth. Now, if we cut the section of the root which is showing the secondary growth, so we can see anatomy like this. We can see here, this part is the cambium part. We can see here, this is the cambium. Cambium is basically a layer which is again parenchymatous, and this is meristematic in nature. I mean, this has capacity to divide and redivide, and this cambial tissue can cut off phloem mother cell toward the outer side and xylem mother cell toward the inner side. So this will cut off secondary xylem toward the inner side and secondary phloem toward the outer side. Now, in the primary root of the Pinus, firstly formed xylem and phloem, they are called as primary xylem and primary phloem. Later on, which secondary xylem is produced or secondary phloem is produced during its secondary growth to meet the requirement of the tissue. So, to know the whole detail how secondary growth takes place, you can watch my video of the secondary growth. Link will be shared in the description box. So, we can see here this part is the secondary xylem and this part is the secondary phloem, and primary phloem later on this get crushed. So this is the crushed primary phloem, secondary phloem, cambium, and this is the secondary xylem. And we in between xylem are present parenchyma cells. So these are parenchymatous rays, mean made up of thin walled cells. These are called as medullary rays, which help in lateral conduction of water, minerals, and nutrients. And this area, which is called as primary xylem, like we discussed in the primary root of Pinus. So this is being pushed toward the center. This part is the pith part, which will be reduced. Now this part is the cortex zone, which will be having resin canal and resin cell as well as reserve food material. Now, because when supposing this is the root and this is the cambium, which is cutting up secondary xylem toward inner side, secondary phloem toward the outer side. And here, when diameter is increasing, pressure will be there, and this cortex can get ruptured. This will break up. So to avoid that, in the cortex zone, there is appearance of the cork cambium, and this cork cambium will protect the internal tissues by cutting off certain cells. So this is the cork cambium, which is again meristematic in nature. Now this will cut off secondary cortex toward the inner side and cork cells toward the outer side. So this tissue which is being cut toward the outer side, this is the cork tissue, and this part which is being cut toward the inner side, this is called as secondary cortex. So this is this tissue which is present toward the outer side, also called as phallum. This is impermeable or suberized, because there is deposition of suberin chemicals, so this is suberized. So this will become impermeable and protect the internal tissues. So this part which is being cut off, this is called as secondary cortex. Secondary cortex, cork cambium, and cork tissue. This is also called as periderm. So to know exact about these terms, you can again watch the video of secondary growth. So this is how this will become more in diameter, this will become thicker, and this will meet the growing requirement of the Pinus plant. That is, every year when secondary xylem and secondary phloem will be produced. So this will meet the demanding requirement of the plant by formation of the new tissues. So we can see here there is cork cambium, right? Then this is the cork tissue, this is the cortex zone, this is the cambial zone, this is secondary phloem, and this is secondary xylem, and this part is the pith. So this is all about transverse section of old root of Pinus or Pinus root, which shows the secondary growth. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comment box. Thank you for watching my video. If you like my video, please like, share, and subscribe.